This is ABC 7 News at 6:30.
We'll begin this half hour with a major new development tonight in a story we've been investigating. An oyster farmer in Point Reyes National Seashore is making serious accusations against the Park Service. He claims the Park Service fabricated reports about the environmentally sensitive waters in Drake's Estero in order to eventually close him down. Kevin Lunny took over the trouble-plagued Johnson's Oyster Farm at Point Reyes National Seashore in 2005 and renamed it Drake's Bay Oyster Company.
Really the most sustainable, least impact of any food production we have in the state of California.
But when Lunny tried to fix up the dilapidated farm and make environmental improvements, the National Park Service blocked his proposed repairs. He says they're making things up to put him out of business. The Park Service says the oyster farm is having a negative impact on the delicate marine life in the Estero. As a result, the park is withholding permits for repairs.
It added pages and pages of new restrictions that, frankly, would put us out of business.
The Park Service says it has proof the oyster farm is hurting the harbor seals who live nearby. The Estero is one of the most significant breeding areas for the seals on the West Coast. The park even went before the Marin County Board of Supervisors to make a case against the oyster farm.
We believe, because of recent actions, and I want to illustrate this, that the harbor seal pupping area in Drake's Estero is seriously threatened right now.
That's Point Reyes Park Superintendent Don Neubacher on May 8th. The video is from the county website.
It's amazing how many pups we have probably lost this year. So we've got a serious problem right now.
Much of Neubacher's damning testimony relies on this report, written by Point Reyes scientists and researched by scientific advisor Sarah Allen, a park employee. Since he addressed the board, the report was pulled from the park's website for scientific review. Several key points have now been discredited. But now we've learned the Inspector General's office is investigating whether the Park Service intentionally withheld information and even falsified data to force the oyster farm to shut down. This email was obtained by ABC 7 News through the Freedom of Information Act. In it, Sarah Allen writes, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and Park Superintendent Don Neubacher that as of April 24th of this year, the Park Service had no direct observations of the oyster farm disturbing seals. The Park Service own database supports that. The vast majority of disturbances actually came from hikers and kayakers, not oyster boats. But Sarah Allen told the Marin County Board of Supervisors less than 2 weeks after this email otherwise.
Over the past few weeks, we have documented oyster operations disturbing mothers with pups and oyster bags left on sandbars where seals would normally give birth and nurse their pups.
Allen presented this trip report conducted on April 26th to the board, written just 2 days after that email to NOAA. In the report, Allen goes into great detail describing a white boat and 2 people on the Estero disturbing seals near the oyster bags. Allen says the boat went by some seals and they all flushed into the water except one lone seal. Allen watched the boat head back toward the farm and ends her survey at 5 p.m. It's a damning observation, also turned over to the California Coastal Commission as proof of the oyster farm disturbing seals. Only problem is it wasn't one of Kevin Lunny's boats or any of his workers.
We went straight to our records because we couldn't believe our ears.
These time cards show the workers that would harvest oysters were off around 4:30 that day. That means there's no way the workers could have been as far into the Estero as Allen's report claims. On top of that, Lunny's records show the harvesting only occurred in the morning and the white boat wasn't even working.
Turns out that the boat that we used to go out to those intertidal areas was broken that day, and it wasn't repaired until halfway into the next day.
We asked the Park Service to respond to this new information. Point Reyes spokesman John DeLasso told us by phone, quote, he would never doubt Allen's research, saying if Sarah Allen said she saw a white boat, that's it. That's a statement of fact. DeLasso added, if the story here is that we are plotting something, I can tell you we're not. But Marin County Supervisor Steve Kinsey believes he is being misled.
The way they've handled this to date has given myself and I think a number of my board members real concern about whether they're trying to achieve an outcome by manipulating information.
They're pointing to us and saying that we're purposefully, our conduct is causing disturbance and therefore a loss in harbor seal populations in the Drake's Estero. We know that's not the fact, and it's very hurtful because we aren't lying.
We tried to reach Sarah Allen to explain the discrepancy in the report. She did not return our calls. Tomorrow morning, the California Coastal Commission will take up Lunny's permits for repairs to deteriorating buildings. And this latest information will likely be weighing on the board's decision. We'll let you know what happens.